Thank you.
Now we can begin the next phase, which I was really anxious to get to. I will have Janet Pritchett open the questioning by directing her question at you, Mr. Wilson. And so the rest of you will have an opportunity to provide an answer, but the opening question is yours.
Okay. And do we think that we did want to do open statements, or
We're going to have some statements, some opportunities for them to be.
okay? So, what is your motivating factor for applying for this board position? And the second part of that is there something that you would like to accomplish during your tenure? And the third part of that is, how do you see your role in that goal?
Thank you for the three-part question. So my motivation as I thought about school board, my motivation really stems from my involvement in the schools prior to today. As a mentor with YMI, as a mentor with the HSE Finance Academy, I've had an opportunity to get to know students and staff at several different schools, briefly at Sand Creek Intermediate, more recently at both of the high schools. And that experience has been nothing short of incredible. As I work with some of the Finance Academy students, the education they already have is amazing. The excitement to see them as they shadow business leaders in the community and the knowledge they've got from some of their business classes, that's an environment that I want to support. And I think on the other end, I've also had the opportunity to see some of the students who are taking classes that will equip them to go right into the workforce immediately after they graduate high school. And for students, that's a really powerful thing as well. They leave school and are positioned well to contribute to our community. That's an environment that I really want to support. As I take a look at my own experience in my daughter's classroom, I was incredibly fortunate last year to have a teacher who welcomed parents into the classroom time and time again so frequently. And with that, I had the opportunity to get to know other parents, get to know other staff members at the school, get to know the students, see the exciting things they do on a daily basis, but also see the challenges that they encounter on a daily basis. And that was a blast. My daughter still talks about one student in the class asked about service dogs. All it took was one student asking a question, and all of a sudden there were multiple different service dogs and their handlers that were coming into the classroom, and the students were learning. And that engagement, that excitement, that's an environment I want to support. So as I look at those things, I want to support that environment in our school. That was my motivation. I also want to be able to support that environment in our community. As a business owner here, as somebody who's committed to living in Fishers for a very long time, I want to make sure that I do everything I can to support our community. As far as tenure, I don't know that I would come in and say, hey, here's the thing that I really want to get done. I recognize as a board member, I'm one person out of seven. And I think as that, I think my goal is to support a team of individuals who are doing what's best for students. I want to be able to ask questions. I want to be able to learn. And I think by doing that, that helps all of us come to the best decisions and figure out the best ways to support students. And that's exactly where I'd see my role. My role is to understand all of the things that go into leading a district. My role is to think first about the students and to make sure that all of my thoughts aren't just on my school, but all of my thoughts are, what is the best thing for the students of our district? What is going to make Hamilton Southeastern schools better?
Each of you will have a chance now to answer that question in approximately 2 minutes. So, Mr. Lansing.
All right, we'll just go down the road. So why did I want to run for this position? I think for me, there are a couple things. One is, most assuredly, my experiences over the past several years with the schools, being there there's another motivating factor as well, and that is I'm a little bit on the end result as well. I work with admissions at Butler University to help bring in students. I see not just our HSE students who are part of that process, but students as well from other school systems across the state, across the country. I hear from them when we have meetings, and I had one just this afternoon before coming up here, about what those school systems are doing. And there are times when it's, boy, it would be nice if we were doing this too, or making sure we're doing those kinds of things as well. So there's the end game there, but I think there's more than just sending or making sure we're building a pipeline for higher ed. I don't want to sound like I'm here as Butler's official recruiter on the board. And that is, I grew up in a small rural school district in northern Indiana, where it was exceptional to go to college. And when I look back on my friends from high school, thank goodness for social media on that end, we get to stay connected. And see the many, many paths that they took. I know that there are kids in this district who are not going on to college, or not going on to college right away. And so I want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support those students, and as a result, we'll be supporting the wider Fishers and Central Indiana communities as well.
Thank you.
So my motivating factor, I apologize for everybody else, but teaching is the greatest profession in the world. And when you have kids that have that light bulb, they get excited about the subject. When they come back to you and tell you that this is what they want to do based on your influence, it gives you goosebumps, and it's a great thing. And I had been thinking about maybe running for school board, kind of in this hypothetical, as I'm a teacher, and then had put in my retirement papers, and thought, well, I'm wondering what my next step is going to be, and I want to be able to stay involved in schools. And then this magic opportunity shows up, and it really, for the board, it's such a unusual place and time that you normally don't get to choose who else is going to be on the board. So you have the opportunity to look at what your needs are, all of our experiences, and be able to figure out, I think this would be a really good fit. So definitely, and I'm sure we all want to make a difference in kids' lives, but it is that goosebump experience that I'm used to, that I think this would be a great opportunity to continue that. What I'd like to accomplish, I certainly don't want to be presumptuous that I'm sure we all have things that we have experienced in the last couple of years. I don't want to be presumptuous that I'm sure the board has an agenda, and that there's things that they would like to look at. But I have really reflected a lot of, is there one encompassing idea that I think would be something at least to look at, and I keep coming back to feedback loops. So in education, there's a guy that we use for professional learning communities, Rick DeFore, that he has these 3 essential questions. What do you want kids to know? How do you know that they know it? And what are you going to do if they don't? And you can really apply that to, well, look at the portrait of graduate. So what a great concept to have this prism to really look at all the different strategies that the board's going to look at, and does it meet these core competencies, kind of like HSE 21. So we can implement these areas, and then, so one of my activities was clearing out all my file cabinets, and I was picking out UBDs and quad Bs and 10-minute formal observations. And if you ask any veteran teacher, it is this kind of cycle of new initiatives. And I was just reflecting about all this time and energy that the district spent in phenomenal, wonderful activities. They're all great. But from the teacher standpoint, what we experienced was to learn about quad Ds, develop quad D lessons plan, goal seal lesson plans, And then about 2 years later, then we moved on to the next thing. We didn't revisit these. And so that's that Rick or even, what is it, Six Sigma, where you have this cycle, and they talked about that in the Portrait of a Graduate, that these are long-term plans. They talk about 15 years. And so you're really looking at this cycle of revisiting and then reteaching. And did whatever the program that we're going to look at, is it doing what we think we wanted it to do? Is it successful? So if we did look at something, I think that would be valuable, but I'd be happy to support it in any way.
Well, I gotta be honest and say that I've never thought about running for school board, so this is an opportunity that I hadn't been looking for. I think it just found me, and under these unique circumstances. But as my wife and I looked at our personal situation and realized as a minority male living in Fishers, Indiana, with 3 minority kids, understanding that their propensity to achieve the same things as other students is far from normal, brought me to a sense to go, how do I be a part of changing that? When you look at the disproportionality of achievement for our students, where I guess some people call it the achievement gap, progressive educators maybe call it the opportunity gap, I felt really compelled to say, one or two things have to happen. We're going to uproot our family and go someplace else where we can get that, or really be a part of helping achieve that. And so when this opportunity came up, I started thinking about, well, what could I do to help do this? And when I started thinking about the goal, it's, you know what, I bring a very unique diversity to this board potentially. I spent, 5-6 years traveling the country. I've consulted, I've been a speaker, trainer, consultant for over 500 school districts. And so when you see things that other places in the country do, from Alaska to New York, California, and then you look at where we currently are, and you ask the questions like, how could you bring some of that? And so I believe my goal is to begin to champion some of those things, bringing opportunities for the board to see things maybe that their experiences haven't allowed them to see, or administration teams the same thing. And so I kind of was compelled to say, either A, I've got to be willing to put up, or it's time to shut up. And this was an opportunity for me to say, let me be a champion alongside of the board and administration for this particular cause.
I have a follow-up to that. If you, because you're coming onto the board at this point in time, it's until you would run for re-election, it'd be a short period of time. If you never get an opportunity to do that in the year and a half you'd have before you, would you be okay with that?
Well, I think that's actually a great question, and the answer really is not about whether I was able to accomplish it, it's whether I believe that in unity we could accomplish it. And I felt like we could create the unity collectively to say, let's push towards this, and I'm in for the fight. And I think that was probably my answer. Today.
Okay.
Is he the only one you're going to ask that question?
Well, anybody can feel free to answer that question, but he was, Travis is a little more specific about, what he would like to see than a little less general, which is fine.
And I would say it's not that there's not a lot of other issues that are important, but what's probably I'm most passionate about, and I feel like I have the ability to represent the community to fight for it, would be specifically that.
Perfect.